Hello and welcome to I Choose Me. I have here Eboni Hall today to discuss with us how she is working with women and she's in the beauty industry. Please tell us more about you, Ms. Hall.
Oh, okay, awesome. Of course, my name is Eboni Hall. I'm a creative. I'm just a natural encourager. I just love to encourage people, but women in specifically. Women are my calling. I love to encourage them. I've been in the beauty industry for about 14 plus years. Beauty has always intrigued me, whether it's hair or makeup. And it's just, I love all things beauty.
What made you decide to go into this career field?
Well, I'm sorry. My phone just swiped. Okay.
It's
Well,
fine.
what made me get into this career field, actually, I was inspired by my mom.
Oh,
My mom growing up, she was a mother of 4 and she was a homemaker. But she was very intentional about her self-care, very intentional about how she looked. She always looked good. She always felt good with 4 kids, 3 girls, 1 boy. And I just remember, she would look one way at night cooking dinner, but then in the morning, she would look totally different. A whole weave, a whole wig, a whole hair done. Like, she really took that time for herself. And so she would do, friends and stuff like that. And so it was really just inspiring to see her. It just, I guess it just hopped on me. I just, seeing her do hair and seeing her take care of herself, it just,
it was something that you just love to see.
Yeah.
And that's definitely self-care.
Yes.
Having a mother to grow up. I think that when our mothers really shape us as far as what we're into. Like if you have a mom that likes perfumes, if you have one that likes to dress up or whatever like that, then that's definitely
absolutely
the type of daughter you have. Do you have children, by the way?
I do, but I have 3 boys, so no girls. I have a girl dog, but I have I have all boys, and so I have a niece, and then I have sisters and stuff like that. So I can get all that girl energy out with them. But yeah.
Well, I'm going to say before we even start that you look beautiful. Your makeup is amazing.
Thank you.
So that's what your expertise is in. I was introduced to her by my sister, Nefertiti Howe, which I'm so thankful to be able to meet with you, Ms. Hall, because I felt like we had a connection. We were in the same similar field as far as trying to help women and focusing on self-care. I wanted to ask you, as far as your the work that you're doing right now, I know you're working on Wonder Years. What other work have you done?
So, well, I've done countless work. To be honest, I've done everything pretty much under the sun: TV, film, bridal work. I love to do bridal makeup. And you know what? My favorite, most of all, is just everyday women. I've been doing those, but even with the everyday women, I've serviced women from all walks of life, And so that has been just a pleasure and honor, and, to serve, so many different women. And, those different women that I've served have influenced me in a great way, just in the way, in my purpose, in my calling. So just being surrounded by women.
Some exchange that goes on. I know when you go to the hairdressers, you have your hairdresser, you talk about so many different things, like you're in a therapy session. So is it the same way with doing makeup?
Oh yeah, it's the same exact way. And so I started off, I just retired from doing hair recently. So it's during COVID. So I actually was doing hair and makeup. But yeah, it's the same thing. I think it's something about touching a person that leads to vulnerability.
Yeah.
I just don't know what it is. It's the physical touch. So whether I'm curling or washing her hair or touching her face and making her look good, there's just an instant connection and bond for beauty professionals.
I was watching a little video, like a reel the other day, and it was a woman who was dealing with alopecia, is that right? Like hair loss. And the woman, got a makeover, they did her hair and they did her makeup, and she literally started crying in front of the screen. Have you experienced that?
Oh my gosh, I've experienced that several times. And I think besides my mom inspiring me, that is that reaction, you know, that is what really reeled me in, really sucked me in to really be able to make a woman tear up or look good, start to feel confident. You know, those are the things that really, really inspired me to move forward in the beauty industry.
Definitely. What are some situations in which stood out to you when you were doing these different makeup sessions or beauty makeovers, where you might have been able to help someone who might have been feeling down? If you had to share a story that was the most monumental for you, that might have changed you, what story?
If somebody was feeling down, you know what? One of a lady that I serviced was being abused. And she had literally, I mean, her wounds were open. Her significant other had dropped her off because I think they were on their way to an event or whatever, and he wanted her to look the part. So he didn't want her to look crazy. So she came in, and instantly I was just, I don't know, I was taken aback because I had never, this was years ago, but I had never seen anything so, you know, normally you can kind of see the after effects with a woman with a black eye or whatever, but it was fresh.
Wow.
And it literally took me back. And so immediately, upon even servicing her, I immediately prayed and I asked God that, you know, whatever it is that you need me to do, you know, if it's words that you need me to say, if it's a prayer that you need, if it's a way I need to touch her, or it's a way, give me the wisdom to handle this situation. I always go into it that way because I believe that, you know, beauty professionals, this is you know, it's more than just doing makeup and hair. It's you know, it's deep. It's and you know, yeah. And so with her, you know, with her face being open, I immediately did, you know, got my first aid kit or whatever, tried to, you know, clean her sores or whatever. But, you know, I also made up her face. And after that, I took her outside away from, you know, the salon environment, all the women, and I took her outside and I asked her, I was like, can I pray for you? And I prayed for her and she started crying. And immediately, you know, after the prayer, she's just like, thank you so much. I really need your prayers. And, you know, that just made me feel so much better. But I don't know, that moment really, I don't know, it just really hit me in a way. First of all, because I just, you know, that a man would put his hand on a woman like that and then send her to the salon to get fixed up. I thought that was the nerve of that. But to send her on a way to where I felt like God had, you know, given me the tools and the wisdom to, you know, to guide her. And and you know, she left feeling good. And I don't know, that hit me like,
I'm sure.
I'm like, it's women out here. And so after that, the way that really affected me in a way that I reached out to a mentor so that I could figure out the resources and the tools needed for women that are coming to the chair in those types of situations. So, you know, I just wanted to be prepared to, you know, for that to happen the next time. And so yeah, but that was crazy.
I'm sure it was. When I had my daycare, in my book, I Choose Me, I talk about the all girls preschool I had. And when I had this preschool, I actually had a partnership with the House of Ruth. So what I did was I told them that I would take in, children, watch the children if the women needed to go to go to court to get the restraining orders and so forth. And I did this because I had not stayed at the house of Ruth, but I had that situation where I had to go get restraining orders, and I had to go in my book where I talk about the abuse that I had encountered and underwent from my spouse. I wanted to give back. And in the book, I also talk about staying at a shelter. And the funny thing is, in that chapter that I talk about staying in a shelter overnight, is that I talked about the next day, I went back to the house. I went back to my spouse. And what I did was I played pretend. I call it playing pretend. I put my makeup on, I put my nice clothes on and so forth. But I was literally dying inside, and I was crushing. And I think a lot of times, as Black women, we don't always get the time to really cry it out. We don't get the time to really appear weak. We have to be strong. We got to put the makeup on. We got to put the beauty on because we have to deliver and we have to show up for work. A lot of us mothers too are single mothers,
Yeah.
For some reason in our community, marriage is not occurring as much as it is in the white community. We don't have, you definitely have some disparities in the amount of women that are being married that are here for African American, and they are for Caucasian and other ethnicities, not just Caucasian. So what I did was I did this thing where I played pretend, you know what I mean? And I was able to be someone else and be who other people wanted me to be, or be the person that could be able to survive. So that was my survival mode. Okay. Yeah. You see other people in your life when you're coming in these contexts and you're meeting these different women and you're on these movie sets. Do you see that relationship with how it transforms them into a different person? You know what I mean? Like after that woman, after you did her makeup, and if you could, share what you told her, what you prayed for, and how her attitude. Tell me how her attitude changed from the moment after you put that on.
You know what? Her attitude, I don't want to say she was like super confident. I just think she was so, I think she was grateful that somebody would take the time, aside to pray and to reach out and concern and not judging her situation. I think that's a lot of times why women put this guard up, or we pretend because, we think we're going to be judged. And, for me, when it came to her, I noticed her guard was down. And I think that was just being there for her in that moment. But I've experienced, honestly, I want to be transparent about that. That was me, especially, pretending. That was me going right into the salon. And like I said, women that I serviced, they have impacted my life so much so that this is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. But when I first got into the salon, I was pretending. And I think, I started to see the beauty in humanity. I started to see, just everyday women, whether they were struggling, victories, successes, abuse. I mean, just all kind of stuff. And I think when people come to the salon, it's not like the counselor's chair. Because I think when you go to the counselor, you kind of have a guard, like, how are you going to fix me? And, whatever. But it's when you walk in the door of a salon, you just let it all out.
Yes. It's something about that relationship where you just form this bond and you become comfortable.
Girl, you just
like that would they're touching you. And that, I used to work in Montessori and we would do this thing called gentle touch, and it kind of acknowledged your presence, and they kind of calm down when you would do this. You have a discussion with them. So it's
and that's happened several times. I think, and not just them, them coming in there, I feel like, and not maybe the first time for some women, maybe over time they drop their guard down. But eventually it does happen. But I would even just say it's the dialogue, the talk therapy, just venting, getting stuff out. Like, I don't think we realize how much that we keep in, and hold on to, and so I think honestly the salon has blessed my life in a crazy way, that I've been able to connect with women, and I start to realize, like, look, we're no different from each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just been a blessing to be around. Honestly, they have helped me see myself. Right. And so, in that way, and while God was working with me in the salon, then I was able to honestly minister to women in ways that they needed to be ministered to.
Definitely. I definitely like that you guys, as a service worker, almost, as giving back. Because definitely people, I think they see people and they look nice and their hair is nice, their makeup is nice, and they just assume all these certain things.
Everything's together. Yeah.
Right. But a lot of times people are hiding under a shield, under that makeup, under the hair. Or I was doing a podcast the other day and I said, sometimes when I'm feeling my worst, that's when I'm dressed my best. When makeup is my best, when I don't feel that good about myself, or I don't feel that good for that day. Those are one of the things that I do to kind of boost my self-esteem up.
Absolutely.
I'm sure
I've noticed in the salon for me that I felt like it was a tug for me. It was like an inner outer beauty experience for me. And so I realized that my calling, it went beyond makeup and hair. It was I'm really passionate about the well-being of women, how they are on the inside, because how you are on the inside reflects on the outside. It shows on the outside. And so I'm not trying to be funny, but I had to do some serious, and still, it's a continuous, it's an everyday thing. It's a journey, but I mean, I've had to really pull some layers back, do some counseling, therapy. I'm an advocate for therapy. It could change your life. Going to the doctor, going to the dentist, just making sure that, taking my body seriously, and being intentional with, what everything that concerns me.
Yeah. So. I had said in my podcast the other day, they had that saying, if you look good on the outside, you'll feel good on the inside. Oh goodness. And I wanted to say, what does that mean? What does that actually mean to someone? Okay. Hold on one second. Let me get 1 second. I have a mom duty coming on.
Sure. It's okay.
Okay. All right. 1 second.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just going to leave it on here for a minute. All right. You would not believe. My daughter just sit up here and cut her little hand while I'm doing this podcast. Her cup shattered in her hand, so I had to get her really quick. She was bleeding a little bit. Okay, so she's wrapping that up. But this is what being a mother is about. You are trying to do a million things. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Eboni, for me, please, too. You're trying to do a million things at one time.
My gosh. This is everyday life for me. Okay. I have 3 boys. So, somebody's flipping off the bunk bed. Somebody got a knot on their head.
People don't get it. And it's just like, I don't know how It is. It's just like, I think when you're a single mother, you know, it's different. You're married, but when you're a single mother, it's like everything is on you, and then it's like, okay, you're trying to have a business, you're trying to look nice and look beautiful, and I'm sure being married, you have to do the same thing. Like, it's so much going on. You gotta look good, because you know it's like, oh, you gotta look good for your husband. You gotta keep him interested. Then you gotta perform at work. Then you gotta take care of the kids. You gotta be the mother, and so forth. And you can't let yourself go, because when you let yourself go, you know, oh, there's gonna be issues. There's gonna be problems. The funny thing was, thinking about my daughter. When she was born, I remember right before I was getting ready to give birth to her, I took my nails, you know, I had the acrylic or the overlay, I took it all off, and I said, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get my nails done. And I took the nails off, you know, I stopped wearing makeup, my eyebrows was getting unibrow, and I had a bunch of other mothers with us. We were probably the unibrow crowd, we were, you know, in sweatpants. I was in all these mom groups. The main thing we had is we were always having a nice little drink, and we did the arts and crafts for kids. Okay. But
I love that.
A lot of times in my book, I Choose Me is about a lot of times losing yourself within being a mother, you know, and not setting time for yourself. Because when I go back and I look at my Facebook posts, I see where everything was about my kids. Like, you know, 6 years ago, all the posts were about, oh, this is what I cooked for dinner. This is what December did. This is what my son did. Oh, they had this report card. Nothing was about me, because I didn't know, you know, what was going on with me, where that was. Now, I'm sure you have some mothers that come your way that feel the same way. You know what I mean? Are struggling with that. What do you think about that?
Oh my God. First of all, I just, you know, what woman doesn't experience anything like that, especially with kids? Now, I think it's really hard to do. I think it's really hard to set that time for us, you know, for ourselves, you know, because, you know, we're women, we're nurturers by nature. You know what I'm saying? It's just in us to be like that, to do that, to put our kids first. But like I said, being fortunate by being in a salon environment and hearing women vent about these things, it really helped me put things in perspective, and it helped me to kind of, you know, work on myself. You know, so if I would experience women, you know, hair shedding out from just stress, you know, falling out, just stress, you know, maybe the significant other was working double time and couldn't be able to help, or maybe he just sucked, you know, but either way, it's just, it always would, you know, fall back on women. And so, you know, being able to be around them and talk to them, and even having my own experience, you know, being a young mother and being married young, my husband didn't know everything, you know, and so it was a lot of times where you did feel alone, or where you kind of felt like you were doing a lot.
And you feel guilty. Sometimes when you do yourself, you would actually feel guilt.
I mean, I think guilt is like the biggest thing. I mean, that's really hard it's a struggle. You know, and to me, I was, you know, even this week, you know, working, or even one day last week, I was just like, man, you know, just feeling, you're working, but you're wondering, okay, did I spend enough time with my kids? Am I home enough? You know, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And so, you know, I think women, they live with that, but I definitely think it's something that we do, you know, need to free ourselves from. You know, it's okay to take that time out for ourselves. It's okay to put yourself on a calendar. It's okay to tell your baby, no, you know, not today, you know.
How old are your 3 children?
My youngest is 7, and then I have an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old.
It's funny because I know with my sister, with her when she did the first show that she was on in Atlanta, she was kind of, you know, skeptical and worried because she had to leave. She left her kids back here, you know, when she went to go do that. She left them here. And I said, Titi, I said, men do this all the time. Their father is going to watch them. They're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be okay. It's your time to shine now. You know what I mean? Your time to shine, your time to go to work. Your kids are going to be okay. We'll help if needed with the kids, but you go and do what you're supposed to do. Live your dream. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Think about, you know, as a woman, was the sacrifices that you might have made maybe with working, with taking on certain roles, things you did for your children, you know, that you might have done differently, or maybe, you know, you said the youngest was 7, and what was the oldest?
The oldest was 13. So
13.
when I started in the hair business, he was probably like, he was a baby. So you know, there was a lot of sacrifices that I had to make. And you know, me, when I was in high school, I really knew I wanted to do hair and makeup and all that type of good stuff. But when I got pregnant with Dylan, you know, or even a little before that, when I got married, a little bit of that got put on hold because, you know, I didn't have money, you know, to just put up for myself. But eventually I went in and I got into school, and I'm gonna tell you, just having to go to hair school, and that's cosmetology school, that's just a 1-year program. That was hard to be there from like 8 to 6 every single day, and then it was like on the other side of town. So I had to get there super early in order to drop my kids off at daycare for them to even be, you know, like they had to be there at a certain time. So it was just, I mean, it was a lot. I definitely had to sacrifice a lot. Now, I was fortunate to have a significant other, my husband. You know, once he started realizing that I was serious about what I was doing, you know, he picked up the slack. You know, he was at home folding clothes and tending to them and taking them to the park on days that I had to work. But man, yeah, I think women, we sacrifice a lot. We sacrifice a lot. Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it's wonderful, and it's a blessing when you have a mate that's understanding of your dream and what your vision and what you want to accomplish. I know for a lot of women that I know for myself, we sometimes put the man in the front and we let them live out their vision and we support them. We have our dreams and everything, but it kind of goes on the back burner, and we take our time to support them and what their mission is and what they want to do. So it's refreshing when you see that a woman also can get that opportunity and she has a supportive husband and man that's going to allow her to do that.
Now, there were times that I had to, so, you know, now the good side is with me and him, we made a decision. So he's a scholar, like he's been in school since I met him. So he had, girl, I mean, he's just been in school since I met him. So, but when we got married, our agreement was, okay, I'm going to get this degree. And then when I get done with this particular degree, then I'm going to stop and you're going to go to school and, you know, you can do your thing. And then I'll go back when you're, when you, just kind of got your way. And so, you know, I was grateful for that, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. So I did have to, even while he was in school, I did have to take the back seat. And I don't know if I would see it even as a back seat. I did have to take that time. It was a season where I had to support him in what he had to do. And I'm not gonna lie, when the table turned, when I had to, when I had to go to school and when I had to be in the salon, I mean, he felt it. He felt it, girl. He felt it. So I think it's one of the things that women, we just do by nature. We just do it.
Yeah.
But, I am grateful for him that, that he was willing to, kind of stretch.
Step up.
Yeah.
That's beautiful though.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Stretch yourself.
That to have someone to step up, and that's what it's supposed to be about, being a support system to each other. I know for me, and I talk about it in my book about how it was very difficult. I think every time I made an accomplishment in my life, I was going through some type of conundrum and overwhelmed and stressed. And then when I had my children, it showed me how strong I was and my ability to succeed. And since I was a little girl, I always noticed that when somebody told me that it was something that I could not do, that's when I worked my hardest to prove it wrong, you know?
Yep.
But I noticed, and I see that so much. That's why I even want to do this podcast with women. I'm like, wait a minute, where's she not interviewing men? I do it because of women, because I hear so many stories of them. And these aren't some small stories. These are heroic stories.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Of women doing amazing things. And a lot of the women that I interview too are single mothers, and they're doing it on their own. I remember my sister in hair school having to start because she didn't have the money to finish, hair school, and trying to get that across, paying bills. Then once she had a child and changing her career around for her first child, because she was supposed to have been doing movies and so forth back then when she was still in her 20s, had an offer.
Yeah, my mama didn't even finish hair school. She went and she didn't even go. She didn't finish. I mean, because of the kids.
That's a dream of hers. You know what I mean? And that's what my book is about, is that it's nothing wrong with wanting something for yourself as a woman. It's nothing wrong with saying, that I deserve this or I'm important.
Not at all.
Good things need to come to me, And I remember as well with trying to get my master's degree, I was separated and I had my two sons were toddlers.
Oh my God.
We were separated, and I had to go. I was getting my certification and my master's at the same time. I had two babysitters watching my mother-in-law paid for one babysitter she might have paid for both of them. And they had to go to two babysitters 2 days out the week. Yeah. And I drove an hour away, an hour and a half to go to school for certification.
Yeah.
And I was taking an online master's program with no internet. Okay. No internet. I had to type and do my work at work and then come back and write it out. Like I might do that until the kids went to sleep or whatever, and deal with toddlers. But there's something about us women and Black women, I feel like are made different. They were made special. It's something about us with that determination that we keep going, that we keep going forward. And people like you, we're not going to just keep going, but we're going to look beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I on my website, I do a blog, and I did a blog about how brave women are. And to go back to self-care, I really connected to self-care because, when you think about what you've accomplished, what you've overcome, how far you've come, it's insane to think that you don't deserve something like time for yourself. You know what I'm saying? We work hard, we do a lot. And so, girl, we got to work on that as women.
Yes. You see, I told you, I was like, I ran up in here, came from a meeting, ran up here, made dinner in 30 minutes, trying to set up.
Girl, I love it.
Trying to get my makeup right. Had to do it. My daughter came down here bleeding from her hand. Straight out, and what I take, maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes.
Girl.
Got that together, sent her back upstairs because she is very dramatic. Okay, but she kind of did deserve this one because she was bleeding. I did it with being calm about it, but
I don't know. First of all, I don't know what girl isn't dramatic. You know what I mean? So.
Right. What girl is not dramatic, right? One thing what I was thinking about when you were talking and about the beauty industry and what it means to Black women, because I noticed, we change our hair up, we do all of this, and beauty is such a $1 billion business, and we are the generators of that $1 billion business.
Ooh, yeah.
It made me reflect back onto slavery. It made me think back to slavery, and it made me think about when I watched the movies and so forth, and how they had on Sundays, the slaves would go to church. And a lot of times, the most beautiful thing that they would do is they put a ribbon in their hair. They
They
might
would what?
put a ribbon. They would have like a ribbon, so forth. You would see in their hair would be that thing that had them stand out. And most times when you read the books or you watch the movies, I noticed that they put the ribbon in the hair and it almost like changed them and made them feel good about themselves and made them feel confident to want to go on. In this world where they were, you know, picking cotton for from sun up to sundown, having babies, and then within a few days tying them on their back, they're in the hot sun again, going through slavery, you know, and having to do all this manual labor, getting raped.
It goes way back.
So forth, and how they would kind of transform, you know, and I talked about it almost, it's like you're wearing like a mask, you know what I mean? That sometimes it's hiding your vulnerability in a way, because in our community, we can't let ourselves fall apart. We can't let ourselves go, especially if you're a single parent and you're doing everything on your own. You don't have time to relax and just, you know, and be out there on your own because you have to go to work. You have to, I have to get my daughter fed. I have to, you know, to do this. So I don't have time to relax. And I'm sure that you can relate to this.
I can, oh God, girl, can I? I can relate to it so much so that is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was just a season in my life where I literally unraveled. I was just depressed. I was down. I was sad. I wasn't fulfilled. And I think it was because of what you said. It wasn't my willingness to just stop, to even listen to myself, to my body, to what was going on, to what I needed, you know, whether it was from my spouse or my kids or my community or my family, you know, and you know, boundaries. Like women, do we have those? You know, it's like, you know, we need those desperately. But yeah, I definitely can relate to that. I got to a point where I was tired. Yeah. And I had to reach out for help. So I had to tell my husband, I need you to, you know, help me with this, or, you know, my mom to help me with the kids. And, you know, I got to a point where it was strictly just, it was me and myself. Mm-hmm. You know, I definitely think that's what we have to do. We have to stop and really slow down, and get some help, and find somebody to talk to, get a good circle of friends, find a support system, and really heal through, you know, just self-care. Everything. Yeah, man.
Self-care. My sister said too that you go, what were some of the things that you do? You go to the churches. What is that, the activities that you do with the church?
So, you know, first of all, I'm a church girl all day long. I mean, I was raised in the church. I just love church. But what I love to do with churches is I really like to spend time with young ladies and women and just really teach them, about self-care, but then I also like to play in some makeup. But then I also like to correlate it to, you know, just how God sees us. And why it's important to take the time for ourselves to invest in ourselves, you know, even if it's just like, everybody doesn't have to have dramatic makeup, but I think it's just about that 5 to 10 minutes that you're saying, okay. Yeah, like when I talk to women a lot, they're like, at church or not at church. It's just like, I don't have time. But why is it? Why don't you have 10 minutes to polish yourself, to show up, to get yourself prepared so that you can show up for work or show up for wherever you are. But yeah, I work with churches, schools. I love to do that. I love to talk with young ladies and just kind of, and really instill on them what true beauty is. Because I think we have so many different, things that pull us away from what real beauty is. When really, I feel like most of all, real beauty is just accepting ourselves for who we are and all the parts of who we are. Mm-hmm. So, that's our story. That's, of course, accepting the fact that we are made by somebody that, we're created in God's image. And so, I love to talk to young women because I think that's where we start first. That's where we should start first.
Yeah.
Is young ladies. But I do it all, whether I'm in a corporate office, church, nonprofit organization. I mean, it's the same message that, we just need to take time for ourselves, and to take care of ourselves.
Before we get ready to close out, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years with this business that's we're just combining this self-care, this self-love, and what you're doing with the makeup and the makeovers? Where do you want to see yourself in the next 10 years?
Oh my gosh, that is a great question. And I just get excited thinking about that because that's what I'm in the moment, but I look forward to that. First of all, I definitely want my own product line. And I'm working on, even then, I want my own inner and outer beauty experience tour. Like, I want to be able to travel to different parts of the world, just talking to women. I'm passionate about even teaching and mentoring beauty professionals. So I would love to build this beauty empire that's not just about just outer beauty, but just inner beauty, you know what I mean? And being able to mentor beauty professionals in that way as well, so that they can, spread the word and help other women. So a beauty team, some product, a big product, and a tour that would just take over the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Eboni, for coming letting me interview you for my podcast, I Choose Me. Eboni is here. She is a beauty influencer. She does makeup. She does makeup on set. She does it for movie and television industry. She also is does it for herself, for just to feel good and make other women feel good. She loves to give back, as you see. She shared with us her experiences with working with women a woman who has been abused, and how it's affected her and where she started from the beginning, which led her to do this, which was her mother, and seeing her mother beautiful and amazing and well-groomed, and it inspired her. Well, if you're thinking about going into the beauty industry, if you're thinking about becoming a makeup artist, what advice would you give those ladies?
If you're thinking about getting into the beauty industry, I would, I think it's it's fun, it's exciting, it's creative, it's a way that you can express yourself. But I always love to let women know, especially if that's something they want to get into, that it's like I said, it's more than makeup and hair. It's heavy work. And so with heavy work, I think going back to self-care, beauty professionals have to be intentional with taking care of themselves. Because how can you preach your client into having a regular appointment and you don't have regular appointments for yourself? You can't even, hold a spot for yourself to get your nails done. So that's one of the things that I would say, beauty professionals, just take care of yourself. If this is something that you want to get into, make sure that you already have a routine in place, so that you can really influence women's lives.
Yeah, a reflection. Seems like the reflection of what you want to do is coming out again on you. Like your face. You're looking, like I said, when I started off, you're looking beautiful, amazing.
Thank
and you
you.
can see the happiness in your heart. You look like you're very happy. You have a strong support system. Okay. You have a strong support system. And when somebody got around you, the energy that you had for them influenced them. You prayed for them and it helped them. And that's what beauty is about.
And when women heal and when they take care of themselves, it's powerful. It's energy. It's I mean, it's just automatic. Women just, we just feel it. We're encouraged by it. We're inspired by it. So,
and I think that bond in that therapy session that goes on in those makeover rooms, in that hair salon, and the nail salon, and getting your makeup done, all of that is that common denominator amongst women.
It's deep, girl.
Yes. I want to thank you, Eboni, for coming out, working with me in my busy day. And I know you probably have even more busier day.
No, but you know what? My days are like this, are like your days. So,
really?
I'm just, oh, girl, yeah. This is every day for me.
Okay. Well, I'm appreciative, and I'm so excited and thankful that you took time out to come grace us with your beauty and your expertise. Thank you guys for tuning in to I Choose Me, and I want you to choose you today.
Yay!
Yay!